Hello and welcome back to the Racing Post YouTube channel, and welcome back to the Acca Backer. If you tuned in last week, you'll realise we came so very close. Plymouth beat Carlisle, Sevilla beat Levante, West Brom beat Middlesbrough, and the wildcards, Oxford United won, and there was over 2.5 goals. Wimbledon beat Portsmouth. We only needed Bournemouth to beat Norwich for 175-1 six-fold success. We're going to try and go one better this week. Gents, a quick reflection on last week. Mark, I can't see us coming closer to landing all six again.
No, that's bad news. I mean, the good news is I got all three. It's Charlesy, wasn't it? Dan Charles. I mean, look, I think you would have anticipated that Bournemouth would have won that game. Norwich did have a couple more players back maybe than was anticipated. But it was close. It was still a great effort, and there were some big prizes in there anyway.
Yeah, Dan's been sacked this week. Liam comes in, super sub Liam. And we'll start with you, Liam. What's your first tip of the week?
Yeah, we're going to go to Sky Bet League One, Fleetwood to beat MK Dons. They're certainly Fleetwood in contention for promotion this season, no doubt about that. 7 wins from their 13 league matches. They lost to Coventry 2-1 recently, but they had 19 shots to Coventry's 13 in that game. They thumped Burton 4-1 in their last home game, and I think the Brewers are a cut above sort of this weekend's opponents, MK Dons. They're really short of quality in the final third. They've not scored in any of their last 4 league matches and haven't actually led a game since September 14th. So I think, they're not in a great run of form. Paul Tisdale hasn't always had a first choice 11 available to him, in fairness, but nonetheless, results have been poor, and I think they could be set for another defeat.
Mark, Dons have been nearly as bad as the weather outside at the moment, haven't they, this season?
They have. I mean, I backed Coventry to beat MK Dons last week, missed a penalty, but Tisdale didn't have any forwards on the pitch due to injury. So they're definitely struggling, no doubt about that at the moment.
Fleetwood are the first pick that go in the Acca Backer. Mark, what's your first pick?
Yeah, I'm sticking in League One, and it's Oxford to beat Rochdale. Oxford have won 5 of their last 7 matches in League One. They're scoring so many goals. Impressive winners last week. We mentioned that we fancied them to beat Rotherham, and that they did just that. Matty Taylor getting the winner. I also think they've had a free midweek, which could be absolutely massive. The way League One is at the moment with no Bury, it definitely becomes important, I think, for the teams that can get their rest in. And so Oxford had a good week to go at this, and Rochdale, they've won 3 in a row, Rochdale, but they're a team that's absolutely wide open. They play very attack-minded, possession-based football. I think if you go toe-to-toe against Oxford, most teams in League One are going to come unstuck. So Oxford should be home bankers.
Liam, I'm really enjoying watching League One this season. Up near the top of the table, it's so exciting at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. There's just so many sort of bigger sides up there looking to get back into the Championship. I think that's a very good tip. Yeah, Oxford looking very sharp, and I think Rochdale a little bit over-reliant on their forward Ian Henderson. Beyond that, I don't think there's a great deal going forward for them.
Definitely 2 solid picks so far. What's your second pick?
Yeah, so we're going to go to Italy, Atalanta to beat Udinese. Obviously, Atalanta's debut Champions League campaign hasn't really gone to plan, but fortunately for them, perhaps quite unusually, their league form hasn't really been affected by their first taste of Champions League football. 5 wins, 2 draws, and a defeat from their 8 Serie A fixtures this season. The top scorers in the division with 21 goals. Alejandro Gomez and Josep Ilicic, really exciting players, key creative outlets for them. And interestingly, they haven't really been hit too hard by recent injury to Duvan Zapata. Luis Muriel has shouldered the goal-scoring burden for them very well. Udinese, on the other hand, I mean, they edged Torino last time out, but they are very, very poor in front of goal this season. They've only scored 4 goals in the league all season, and astonishingly, they're yet to score away from home in the league this season. All 4 of those goals have come on home soil. So yeah, Atalanta to beat Udinese is my next pick.
We seem to be going against Udinese quite a lot in this series, Mark. And on Atalanta, on the other hand, I saw them in pre-season. They came to Carrow Road and they looked exciting that day. And ever since then, they've been pretty good, haven't they?
They're great entertainers. They're top scorers in Serie A this season. The biggest certainty of the week was Pep Guardiola was going to praise them and their style of football. Guardiola loves any manager that comes and plays wide open against Man City, because they usually beat them. And I think they've found that the Champions League just it's been a bit alien to them. Not a team that's used to that sort of competition. But in Italy, other than sort of Juventus and Inter, you wouldn't say that anybody else is better than them.
No. From Italy to France for the final pick of the fourfold.
Yeah, so this is Paris Saint-Germain to win -1 on the handicap. So they need to win by 2 goals or more. They're playing Marseille, the biggest game in French football. Le Classique is what it sort of is tagged, not El Clasico, Le Classique. But these two teams, the class differential is just massive these days. It used to be Marseille were the top dogs in France, not anymore. Paris Saint-Germain absolutely in rampant form at the moment. 9 clean sheets in 11. Their last 2 away performances at Nice and then Club Brugge. Club Brugge are a decent team in the Champions League, and they just destroyed them 5-0. You know, if Icardi doesn't score, then Mbappe will. If Mbappe doesn't, then Di Maria will. Even without Neymar, they're just in fantastic form at the moment. In terms of sort of them winning the Champions League, hopefully they're not playing their best football now, you know, because you need to save some of it for later on. But I don't see them showing any mercy to Marseille. In terms of sort of Marseille's trip to the Parc des Princes in recent times, not been good. Lost 3-0, 3-0 and 3-1. So that's 9-1 on aggregate the last 3 trips. So I think Paris Saint-Germain should be able to cover the handicap.
Liam, of course the people watching at home will be backing this accumulator, but if they're looking to find value in games where teams are maybe really short, is the handicap a good way to go? Do you usually go that way?
Yeah, absolutely. I think what Mark's touched upon there is absolutely right with Paris Saint-Germain. I think we all know about the wealth of attacking talent that they have, but they've been really effective and pragmatic this season, as racking up many clean sheets in Liga 1, and that's something that perhaps we haven't seen from them in recent seasons, and why they're also a good bet for the Champions League.
Right, let's get into the wild cards then. We've got one each. They both came in last week, so no pressure, Liam.
No, sure. In the Bundesliga, I'm going to go for Hoffenheim to beat Hertha Berlin. I wrote last week about the importance of the forward Andre Kramaric coming back into the Hoffenheim team, because they've had so many players leave the club, the likes of Amiri and Demirbay both left in the summer, and Kramaric hadn't played for them this season until last time out, and he actually scored in that win over Schalke. They're obviously going to be affected by the departure of Julian Nagelsmann, but they're starting to look a little bit better now. Performances have improved of late. They beat Bayern Munich at the Allianz before that win over Schalke, and looking at Hertha Berlin and Niklas Stark, real key defender for them, and Edvard Leuven is another key defensive player. Those two players, they're coming back into training this week, but they're not going to be ready for this game, I don't think. And with the attacking qualities at Hoffenheim are starting to show now with Kramaric back in the team, I'd like the look of them to win. So yeah, Hoffenheim to beat Hertha Berlin.
Lovely. And Mark, you talked about one of the biggest games in France. Your wild card, one of the biggest games in English football this weekend.
Certainly the biggest game in Devon, Exeter against Plymouth. I mean, Exeter are quite strong favourites here. I'm not sure I agree with that assessment anyway, but I'm not only going for Argyle to win, I'm going for Argyle to win and there to be over 2.5 goals. That's around about 4-1, 9-2. But if you look at it from Exeter's point of view, they've only lost 4 matches this season, but all 4 games they've collapsed, and it's been really heavy defeats for them. You know, and they were beaten 4-0 at Cambridge last Saturday, then 3-1 against Scunthorpe. I don't think that's the kind of form you want to be heading into, you know, such an intense derby. Whereas Plymouth, on the other hand, under Ryan Lowe, I saw them a couple of weeks ago against Swindon. They played really good football, and you could just tell that they were ready for liftoff. They only got a point in that game, but they left a marker, I think, and then they beat Carlisle convincingly 2-0, followed that up with a 4-0 against Leyton Orient, and all 4 goals came in the first half. They're playing so well at the moment. Danny Mayer, one of the best players in League Two, no doubt about that. He can't even get in the team. Gorgeous George Cooper, keeping him out, the on loan Peterborough player, big talent as well. So, I mean, I think this is feels almost like a pick'em game to me. And also the Devon Derby, usually you think derby games are all tight. 8 of the last 10 Devon derbies have seen over 2.5 goals. So this is traditionally a fixture with a lot of goals. Plymouth are in better form. If they win, I think it'll be a high-scoring game.
Sounds good to me. The boys nearly got it last weekend, that full 6-fold. So if you're feeling confident, do let us know down in the comments section below. If you want any other tips from Mark and Liam, please do head over to the Football Postcast. That's available on our YouTube channel and also all of the podcast platforms. Liam, thank you. Mark, thanks very much. We'll be back next week for another episode of the Acca Backer. Until then, good luck with your bets, and we'll see you very soon. Bye-bye.